Okay, so at this point, do we have any for the amendment? Dwayne?
Dwayne Wright, SD5, I'd like to speak for it. Striking these two does not preclude a party from doing in the bylaws what Ms. Hagler was just saying. So striking it would not affect that in a negative way according to her argument.
Okay, we've had 2 for. Do we have another against? Not seeing any, we'll go to the vote. All in favor of striking 7C and D as up on the board, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Nay. The ayes have it. We're getting there, folks. Number 6, proxies prohibited. Any amendments to proxies prohibited with the exception of the SREC that's in the rule? Seeing none, we'll back up to 5, parliamentary authority. Seeing none, we'll go to 4, adoption by reference, the Constitution of the United States and Constitution of the State of Texas.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't expect to get a second for this.
Moving on.
I'm moving to strike Rule 4 as it is redundant to Rule 5.
It is what?
Redundant.
To what?
Rule 5.
Do we have a second? The motion, if you couldn't hear it, is to strike Rule 4. Do we have a second? I do not see a second. Sorry, Nate.
Let it die.
That was a pity second. But we did get a second, so would you like to speak to the rule?
I will speak to this amendment and simply repeat myself in that it is redundant to Rule 5.
Does anybody want to speak against this amendment? Everybody ready to vote? All in favor of striking rule number 4, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Nay! That was as good as a jolt of caffeine from up here. Well, the amendment fails. We go to Rule 3, discrimination prohibited. Seeing no amendments, we'll go to Rule 2, publication and distribution of rules. Seeing no amendment, we'll go to Rule 1, with the exception of the Permanent State Executive Committee portion of that. Yes, sir.
I do have an amendment to Rule 1, although I don't know if I'll get a second on it, but it's how these rules having been filed by the Secretary of State together with the statutes, rules, and bylaws adopted by reference shall constitute the rules of the Republican Party of Texas, and I would like to add, and shall be enforced by the SREC. And I'd like to speak to that if I may.
We do have to have a second.
I'd have to have a second.
I'll second it.
We got a second. We got a second. I didn't catch who that was.
And shall be enforced by the SREC.
Kristen? Okay. Kristen wants to
I'm the
enforce the
SD4.
rules.
Thank you, Kristen.
Okay, John, would you like to speak to it?
Yes, in all our travails in Montgomery County, I said Harris County, it's really late. In Montgomery County, we've gone before the SREC only to have members of the SREC say to us, there's nothing in our rules say we have to enforce these rules, which is just crazy. You've heard me at times throughout this deal say, or else what? Because if we keep writing rules that have a bunch of shalls and you shall, but there's no mechanism to enforce it and no will to enforce it, we wasted our time. It's disrespectful to the entire convention. So that's why I wanted to add that.
Can I, yeah.
The MAC has what he's describing as a friendly amendment.
I think they mean.
I'm okay with that.
That's taken as a friendly?
Yes.
Okay, Randy, you speaking against? Yes. Okay.
Okay, my understanding is the reason we have an SREC is to do the administrative parts of this party in between the biennium conventions, with the biennium convention being authoritative. I don't see how there's a mechanism for the SREC to enforce these rules during the convention.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak for the amendment?
Can I offer an amendment? Maybe a friendly one?
Certainly. Certainly.
I'm not allowed to.
No, you can't.
Okay. We're getting delirious.
Friendly
here.
would
Okay.
be faster, but it's
Well,
up to John.
I'm wondering if it should be enforced by the officials committee of the SREC.
So we've got a friendly amendment that has been accepted by the offer that must be enforced by the officials committee of the SREC. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's think about it.
Okay.
Or
We ready for a vote?
No, I'm going to speak
Oh,
against it.
wait, Bruce has got one more speaking against it, I
Bruce
believe.
Campbell, SD 24, I want to speak against it. So the title of this whole rules is General Rules for All Conventions and Meetings. And all conventions and meetings have chairs. And the chair's job is to enforce the rule at their convention and their meeting. And so if we had a person if they were violating the rule in this meeting today, we wouldn't be calling the SREC or the officials committee. We would have a point of order for the chair, and it's the chair's job to enforce these rules, and that's what our parliamentary authority says in rule number 5. And so it's the chairs of meetings' job to enforce the rules in a meeting or a convention.
And point of information,
Where's the point of information coming from?
ISD2, Randall Dunning.
Sorry, yeah.
We have these things called the sergeant of arms. Is that not their duty to, at the direction of the chair, enforce things in the meeting?
If needed, yes, that's correct. Yes, Ronnie,
I'd like to, that was an against, right?
that was an against.
I'd like to speak for.
Okay,
I definitely understand where he's coming from, but if all of the chairs of every county were doing their job like my colleague behind me, we wouldn't be asking for something like this. Whenever a chair neglects his duties to even hold a meeting, how can we hold him accountable? This is holding meetings accountable to making sure that rules are being followed and that rogue chairs are not just enforcing their will on their own on their own executive committees.
okay, are we ready for a vote? All in favor of John's amendment to add a bit of enforcement signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay? Nay! I think we need a roll call vote on that. That brings us back to the full rules package as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the full rules package as amended, signify by saying aye. Or we should, well, go ahead and do a voice. Signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Nay. The rules package passes. Thank you, members. Yes, Kathy? What was that, Kathy?
Mr. Chairman, is there a schedule change? Can we come in later tomorrow?
It's been suggested that we come in a bit later tomorrow.
I think it needs to be where applicable. So, but I wasn't going to even go there.
Is there any objection for us starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning?
Point of information.
No objection.
Wait a second, we got a couple of hands raised. Yes.
What are we doing? We've just passed everything.
Right. It's a question of, can we, as a committee, delay the start of the committee meeting tomorrow morning?
Okay, why do we even have to start? I mean, what are we doing tomorrow? We just passed everything.
Delegate testimony, and if
We just
based on the
passed
delegate testimony, we want to revisit something, like I believe it was Ronnie or somebody had one thing they wanted to revisit, that would be the business, yes.
So,
And we don't have this posted. We want to make sure that committee's good. We got all the typos fixed, all that kind of stuff as well.
So did we or did we not pass the rules? That's all.
We have, yes. At this point, we have if we do nothing more. But I think we should listen to delegate testimony. If there are things based on delegate testimony that changes our mind, we can revisit rules.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Based on when we broke for lunch,
Point of order, the chairman had...
Everybody listen up. I know we're late, but we get to sleep early in the morning without objection.
okay, my question is, based on when we took lunch to today, I made plans for tomorrow. Are we still going to break for lunch at 12:30 till 2? we come in late.
I'm not advised. I think if we start at 10, we won't need to break that soon.
Okay, what time will we break?
What's that? Possibly. Let's count on 1 o'clock tentatively. 1 o'clock. We'll start at 10. We'll take a lunch break at 1 o'clock. And the day will be mostly delegate testimony with perhaps a few rules being revisited, checking what we did, make sure we get it right in the PDF copies that get distributed to everybody, those sorts of things.
Mr. Chairman, at 4 p.m., some of us will need to leave for the SREC meeting.
Correct.
And then there's a caucus chair meeting starting at 6.
Correct. And the supplemental rules for the committee's information, even though that SREC meeting doesn't start until 4 o'clock, I believe.
4.
That it's been requested we get those to Virgil and the editing committee early so they can have time to do extra cleanup and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
So it's not like we have nothing to do tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
point
sir.
of information, doesn't the schedule for tomorrow suggest that the Rules Committee will meet from 8 to 11?
I do not anticipate that. It does suggest that. And typically in prior conventions, I don't believe the Rules Committee on Wednesday has gone that late. It's possible if we want to reopen a bunch of different things, but I don't anticipate that. Okay, we are recessed for tonight. See y'all at 10 o'clock in the morning.